Hello out to all you wonderful people. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy. Thank you once again for lending me your time and your ear, listening into another Heat versus discussion. Yes, there's another one. The other one was the last one that I had planned, but this one was requested, and it was requested by Kaiser AVM. Sort of. I guess he kind of did say he was looking forward to it, and to me, like, even though I didn't have it planned, I was like, oh, okay. Well, cool. I can do that one. So this is Heat versus Dr.Weil. And I don't know why I didn't think about this in the first place, honestly. I just don't know why I didn't. But this is something that was actually quite interesting to think about, and to put Heat up against Dr.Weil, like, because he has all of the stuff that he's done in the Mega Man Zero series that you can kind of take note of from Mega Man 03 and 04. I mean, if I didn't know any better, I also say he had his hands in the situation that led to what was going on in Mega Man 02 before he was introduced. But there's not really evidence to point towards that. That's just me thinking it possibly could have happened. But let's go over the character's history briefly, just thinking about things. Dr.Weil is the creator of Omega, like basically the personality of Omega, because Omega's body wasn't his, obviously it was Zero's. He created Omega and the Omega Saber and the Omega Buster, all for Omega to take place of Zero and become basically a god of destruction in the Mega Man X, Mega Man Zero universe. As I've described Omega before, he's very cutthroat, very cold and calculated, and very quick to kill you without much thought behind it. He's not one to linger on the petty details of the situation. He's just there to take you out. So, Dr.Weil was exiled from, I believe it was Neo Arcadia at the time, after the situation with Omega went down and X and Zero defeated him. I want to say that's what happened. I believe that's what they say happened in the Zero series. I could be wrong. Somebody can correct me. I think that's what they said though. So there's that. I think he was exiled for what, like 1,000 years or something like that. He was gone a really long time. But Dr.Weil is technically human. Though he has a cybernetic body, he is technically human. So I guess that would make him a cyborg instead of just being a plain human. And I'm pretty sure that's why Zero had no gripes basically taking him out at the end of Mega Man 04. It was like, well, you're not fully human. Like, and you're causing mayhem and havoc, and so yeah, I can take you out. There's no protocol stopping me from destroying a cyborg. It's just I can't take on a normal human, which I think that's basically it. Like he's like, I got a loophole here I can work with. So going through all of that, and remembering all of that, Dr.Weil actually was pretty powerful. Though I don't want to. And it's pretty well hinted that Zero died at the end of the Zero series. I don't want to say that Dr.Weil is the reason that Zero died, because I think Zero had already taken pretty much heavy battle damage working his way through the fortress to get to Weil in the first place. And on top of that, I don't think Weil actually beat Zero. I don't think he actually got close to beating Zero. I think really the thing that killed Zero was the descent back into the Earth. Like, because they did seem to be in the outer atmosphere of the planet. And I think the descent back to the planet is really what destroyed Zero. Like, because his helmet was like the only thing that was left of him. So, just going based on that, like I said, I think that's really what killed Zero, is like the fall back through the atmosphere. Like, he was already damaged enough. He already had a long fight before it got to that point. He didn't exactly have contact with anybody that could help him. So he was really on his own taking that fight when he went through all that crap to get to Dr.Weil after having already taken out Omega and having to deal with the remake copy X and stuff like that. So he had a lot to worry about when it came down to it. And I think honestly, yeah, once Zero got there, like he was already fucked up enough. So Dr. Weil kind of had to deal with a weakened Zero. Like that's my interpretation of the situation. It doesn't necessarily mean it's right, but that's my interpretation of the situation, just remembering what I played in the game. But moving forward from there, how would Heat stack up against him? So X Series Heat, I have to think this through. I would not say X Series Heat is on par with the Zero that fought Dr. Weil. I would not say he is. Like, even though I think Zero was injured and weakened by the time he got to Weil, I don't think that Heat, like the X Series Heat, would be on par with him. I mean, just comparing the situation, a fresh Heat versus that Zero, I'd probably still give the upper hand to that version of Zero, just more so based on experience and the fact that Zero's been through a lot of crap. Like, he's been through many situations where it looked like he should lose or die and still come out on top. So, that being said, I don't think that Dr. Weil is just going to like mollywop the hell out of the X version of Heat. I honestly think it would take him quite a bit of effort. Quite a bit of effort in order to be able to beat Heat. But I do think he would beat Heat. Just considering, like, well, it's one of those things, like that version of Heat, I would call it a close call. Because, again, Dr. Weil isn't fully robotic, so I don't see the Maverick antivirus that Heat is installed with playing any particular role. Now, Heat does have other abilities that could help him, can aid him in a fight, but I don't think that the Maverick antivirus, which would be basically his most powerful thing, would be able to help him in this situation. Outside of him maybe using it to amp his overall power output, but he doesn't have to use that in order to do so. Like, he has other ways to do it. So I could see this being something where Will would win, and it would be high difficulty for him. He would win it though against the X Series Heat, just based on his advancements in technology and Heat's lack of experience. Though Will isn't a fighter by comparison, so the main reason is that he would win because he's overpowered. Like, that's really it. But because if you took away all that power, he would do away with him in a matter of seconds. But the realization of the situation is that Dr. Weil had all of that power, and he basically tried to make himself more powerful than Omega. So I don't think he succeeded. I think he probably got close to being there, but I don't think he necessarily succeeded, which is why, again, I'm saying an injured Zero beat him. But that's my interpretation of the situation. You can take it as you will. Because I could imagine Zero was in the condition that he was at the beginning of Mega Man Zero 2, where his armor was cracked and everything, and he was basically on his last legs when he got there. That's kind of how I envision it, even though the game doesn't portray it that way. But when you consider how long he had to fight continuously and how much crap was being thrown at him, it makes sense. But so yeah, not saying X Series he couldn't beat Wheel, but likelihood of it is lower. Like, I'd say he probably it's a 70% chance, 75% chance that Wheel would win. So Heat would probably likely only win a quarter of the time, and it would take extreme circumstances for him to pull it off. So, like, more or less, this is another situation where I could see the antagonist actually kills the hero but gets stopped, like X Series Heat against Omega. Like, that's how I look at it. Now, New Heat versus Dr. Weil, I don't even think it would really be a contest. I think he trounced him. Now, I'm not saying that Dr. Weil wouldn't put up a good fight, because again, he is extremely powerful, he is overpowered, but not to the point where I see him doing more damage than Omega could do. I just don't see it. Like, and I guess it's more or less because of my experience playing the game against both of the characters. Omega was a tougher fight. Like, Omega was definitely a tougher fight. Like, I think I had to put more effort into beating Omega than I did in beating Dr.Weil, and I think that is intentionally that way. I could be wrong, but that's just me remembering from my own play experience. Just considering the situation anyway. So I do see the newer updated Heat. Like, it would, and I can see, again, this is one of those situations where it would be a long battle. But I think it would end up being a long battle mostly because Heat would have to take time to strategize how he's going to take Weil down without, you know, damaging a whole lot of stuff around him and taking unneeded lives that he can avoid and save. With Omega, I don't think he'd have that option to himself because Omega is a lot of power, but he's also around relative to the size of Heat. So he's the same amount of power, if not more, than Dr.Weil in a highly compressed ball of a situation. So, like, yeah, I don't think he would get the opportunity to really think his way out of it before a lot of collateral damage happened. With Dr.Weil, I think he would have the time to really process things and be able to avoid a lot of collateral damage and possibly save a lot of structures because he could plan around what he learns of Weil and take him down. Again, Dr.Weil is not a fighter by any means. He's not a fighter. So I don't see him beyond an initial chaotic reign of terror. I don't see him doing much to the newer version of Heat without being dealt with handedly and quickly after just like some time to really just process what's going on and what his abilities are and how to counter them. That would be it. Like, Will wouldn't get much of a chance, and like this is where I would flip it to 75% in the other direction, where the new Heat would quite clearly be better suited to taking him down than Will would be to taking Heat down. Is just it. But I'm like, and I'm not trying to, like, again, like I'm not trying to like boost the character and make him sound like he's well above everybody else and all that stuff. But this is one of those situations where I look at the character of the characters and thinking about how they are, and that's why I would say the newer Heat would win, whereas the older Heat would lose. But that's it. If anybody else has any requests that they'd like to make, I'm definitely willing to do them. Just go ahead and run it by me. So, like I said before, like I would do more of these. I just didn't want to push it too far. Like, but if people want me to, like, they make a reasonable request, I'm willing to do it. So that's it. Thank you guys very much for listening. Keep your eyes and ears up for more stuff from me. And until the next time, please enjoy your games and peace out.